founded Commusoft back in 2006 with the intention of transforming the way field service companies manage their businesses. Today's show is all about offering finance, and I'm joined by Aidan from Vendigo. Welcome to another episode of Success in the Field, where we explore the world of field services and highlight best practices for achieving success. In this edition, we're focusing on a company that's disrupting the financial service industry. They help businesses offer finance to their end customers through a user-friendly platform, and it's this simplicity that makes them unique, which very much aligns with the same values we hold here at Commusoft of providing the best customer journeys. Welcome to the show, Aidan. Let's kick things off. I know we've spoken before about Vendigo, and they have a really unique take on tackling finance. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about Vendigo and what they're getting up to?
Well, thank you for the introduction, Jason. I'm Aidan. I'm head of business development at Vendigo Finance. Been working at Vendigo for well over 13 months now. And I think as your first job out of university, it really is a baptism of fire working in a startup, especially with the sort of ambitious growth plans of Vendigo. In essence, Vendigo is a point of sale finance platform focused specifically on the home improvement sector. So we've partnered with market-leading lenders across the United Kingdom to offer the broadest possible loan products to the consumer via the merchant. And I think what really makes Vendigo unique and different within the home improvement market is that you can use our platform integrated into your website, in the customer's home, in your showroom, or even complete a loan application in the comfort of your own home via text message or email. And all of this takes less than 60 seconds. So from that journey, we've enabled us to really grow and be one of the market-leading home improvement finance platforms across the United Kingdom. Another key point which I wanted to touch upon is because we work with multiple lenders, we've built a platform which is optimized for approval rates. So your customer, when you partner with Vendigo, if you're a door business, fenestration, boiler, anything within home improvements, has the best possible chance to get approved for finance in a matter of seconds. So I think that's a bit about Vendigo, what we do, and something which we really pride ourselves on and which aligns with Commusoft is when we were founded, we wanted that customer to have the best possible purchase experience when using our platform, which in turn means the merchant delivers an absolutely great customer journey to them. And I think if you're a business and you put the customers at the heart of everything you do, you're only going to be set up for success.
I was just going to say, it's quite interesting because I've seen more and more people over the last even 2 years adopt finance. You know, businesses that we work with talk to us more and more about finance and talk to us more and more about that, point of sale, going to a property and trying to make a sale then and there. So I can definitely understand why the speed makes quite a big difference to getting that sale and ultimately getting the customer what they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you think about getting a proof of finance, or maybe people experiences with getting a mortgage, they think it's going to be a long process. There's going to be loads of paperwork going to be involved, and home improvement merchants are probably put off by that, right? So when you've got a platform which can say, listen, it's going to be just as easy as paying through cash or card, and you can get your customer walking away with a loan, walking away with their dream set of windows or a boiler replacement, they're going to be really keen to come on board, right? So I think that the end customer is going to be better off, but also the merchant is. And I think when you're trying to optimize your sales process, which I know a lot of Vendigo merchants who use Commusoft say that's really helped them, right? They're technicians, they're installers, they're not salespeople. So if you've got a platform which can help them sell more, then they're going to be all on board, right? So it's just about how you teach them on how to optimize that process.
And I think one of the things that I'm quite interested in is this idea that ultimately engineers are your frontline staff. I know the office staff take phone calls and emails and all that sort of stuff, and they're talking to the customers. But at the end of the day, it's the engineers that are going to site, talking to customers, working with customers. And so whilst, as you said, they're not salespeople, but I think as we move forward, they're going to become slightly more salesy. And I'm not suggesting that has to be like, boiler room, terrible sales, but good advocates of good products, consultants, providing good advice and helping that customer make that decision, I think is going to fall to the engineer to do a good job of that. And part of that is going to be making new boiler sales, new window sales, whatever it is.
Exactly. And I think a point which you touched upon earlier, which is really key to discuss, is that we live in an age now where people buy things through subscriptions, like your phone bills, Spotify. You've seen the rise of Klarna with buy now, pay later, all your clothes online. People don't think about things in lump sum payments. They think about how much is going to cost me per month. And that's why I think finance is only going to grow, and the amount of loans people take to pay for things is only going to grow as we continue through this age of a subscription economy. And with COVID-19 impacting people's wages, with the furlough scheme still coming in, there's a lot of uncertainty within the UK market. So if you partner with a finance provider which can offer a customer a nice low monthly payment, they can pay off at any time with no extra charge, then it's obviously going to benefit the merchant and the consumer in the long run.
Fantastic. So where do you think your relationship is with generally the field service industry? I know you said, you mentioned a couple of the industries that you're working with, but how did that come about?
So I think when Vendigo was founded, we really saw a gap in the market to provide a point-of-sale finance platform specifically for the home improvement sector. I mentioned Klarna. There's a lot within the retail sector. There's a lot within sort of the electronic sector. But we really wanted to focus on the home improvement sector because it's at the heart of the UK sort of workforce, right? So where we sit is we work with any merchant, whether that's fenestration, boilers, roofing, indoor, outdoor furniture, anything which comes within that remit of home improvement category, would you say, we can partner with them to enable their customers to buy through finance. And within that, we've really become sort of the market lead for boiler businesses. And it's one real key point which I want to highlight is because we work with multiple lenders, boiler companies have the highest chance of their customers to be approved for finance. And when a boiler is a distressed purchase, that's really important because, as you are aware, a consumer is probably a lot less likely to be approved for a loan if it's distressed rather than they saved up a bit of money and can put deposits. So that's what we've really done and led to us sort of working with a lot of boiler businesses specifically.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things when it gets cold and your heating fails, you need heating. There's no getting around that, right? I mean, if you've not got hot water heating and it's the middle of winter, that's, I guess, you haven't got the capital to actually replace a boiler, this is definitely something that I can see being very useful both for the field service company and for the end consumer. And I think in terms of the distressed loans, that's something that we actually talked about previously, which was the idea that a traditional loan they might be able to, a sort of someone with good credit history might be able to get, but someone with not so perfect credit history, you're actually offering a service to them as well, aren't you?
Yeah, because we work with prime and subprime lenders, then on the rare occasion that they may be declined, the customers could still be able to purchase their boiler, but just with slightly higher interest rate. And we're not talking about like 20, 30, 40% or anything like that. It would be a standard 14.9 or 19.9 loan through our partner Propensio Finance. And I think specifically within the boiler industry, it's just so important to give the customer the most opportunities to purchase that boiler, because like you say, then they're not going to have heating or hot water. And that's what is something that's really passionate to me and to Vendigo, is how can we help customers get what they want through finance, which is only ever going to be important the most with a boiler. And I think another thing is, Jason, even if you've got a couple of grand sitting in your bank account, do you really want to spend it on a new boiler? As much as you love a new boiler, would you like to maybe spend it on a laptop or a holiday or presents for your kids? Whereas with finance, you can sort of do both. So that's what you sort of come across.
Yeah, I think gives choice to the end consumer, right? I mean, that's a key benefit, and it's something that we all want. And we can choose at the end of the day to have it on finance or to pay it outright if you're in one of those lucky positions. If not, then at least there's that option. And I think so many field service companies have started adopting that model because they know at least it's another tool in their arsenal when they turn up and offer a quote for some work. If they haven't got a finance provider or partner there, then they're only offering, upfront payments. At least this does then give them something else to offer the end customer. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's what that's what's going to help them win the deal or close the customer there and then, especially when they're in the home. Like, as we both know, the best time to sell to someone is when you're with them there and then, right? So if they can offer multiple payment options, get it all closed in the home, then everyone walks away happy.
Fantastic. It's interesting as well, because we've seen like a rise in this sort of e-commerce boiler install model as well. And I know something, again, we've discussed. How do you think that actually looks in practice, especially along the lines of finance? You know, what are some of the key benefits you're seeing with some of the merchants and partners that you have in that sort of all online model?
Yeah, and that's a really great question, Jason. And I think the rise of e-commerce within the boiler market and actually across home improvements is only ever going to increase and has really been accelerated through COVID-19. I think if you look at the retail industry, no one 15, 20 years ago would think that you would buy 90% of your clothes online. And we're seeing that even say 5 years ago, when Box was sort of the prime mover, people were like, you're never going to buy a boiler online. But through Vendigo, and we work with the likes of iHeat, Heatable, Warmzilla, Boiler Central, all of these businesses sell purely online. And I think as an industry, we've got to accept that there are going to be businesses who are going to be very successful selling online. And I think that if you can offer some form of online offering, you're only going to increase your chances of making more sales, because as we're aware, consumers have built up the habit of buying everything online. So if you can buy your boiler online, then you're probably going to do it. And I think specifically that we see, because we work with a lot of online and offline businesses, and there's almost a fear of what does online actually look like? Could I do it? And it's almost having the confidence and belief in yourself that you've got all the hard work, you've got the skills, you've got the installation work, you've got your team. You just need to build an effective website, and then to have an integrated finance platform, which we can do. And then jobs are good. And I think that's one thing that we've really helped merchants who were traditional route, who sort of sell in the home, and sort of coaching them and educating them, like, guys, you can do it. You've just got to believe in yourself, and we can help you, whether that's build your website, offer advice from working with Heatable, iHeat, as I mentioned, or actually helping with the finance integration. And that's the thing that we really want to help these businesses do, because I think when Box first came in, everyone was like, oh, Box, they're going to take up the market, they're driving prices down. And that was that real fear. But once you get over that and accept it, then there's so much opportunity, right? The boiler market is so big and there's so much space for everyone there. So if you can offer online, offline, you're just going to be in a great position to sort of close that end customer.
You know, it's quite interesting. You mentioned buying clothes online. For me, I think one of the things that changed the way we bought was innovation. If you look at something like ASOS, for example, like one of the most famous companies for pushing people to buy clothes online, they didn't just do it in the sort of traditional sense, right? They didn't just go, oh, here's a t-shirt and jeans. They actually innovated around that. They had catwalks and video content, and they had all sorts of other stuff that meant that when you were actually purchasing, you didn't just see a picture. They actually provided a bigger all-round experience. And I think really, if we're looking at, field service, I think we have to look at it like that as well. Some people will want to buy online, some people won't. And I think if you don't have any online presence whatsoever, then you're only going to capture those clients, those customers that want to buy with someone turning up to their home. Whereas if you have both, you're going to effectively capture a wider market. Those that want to buy online, those want to get prices online, those that want to get all that information, just book it and pay for it all online. And those that want someone to come to their house, want to give them some confidence, want to look them in the eye, shake their hand, and actually sign on a piece of paper. And I think that's the difference. I think for me, businesses need to look at both avenues, because there are lots of different types of customers. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, Jason. And I think you're right. What we've seen to make our sort of online boiler businesses different is that they've got a very playful tone. Like when you go onto their website, it's all about that user experience, what the user feels and thinks while they're on the website. And you can see sort of for Warmzilla, for example, they've got like Derek the cartoon, Heatable and iHeat have got absolutely great cartoons on their website and sketches of people buying the boiler. I know their founders have like interactive videos of like how to install a boiler, what a boiler looks like on your wall here. So it's a real experience when you're clicking onto their website. It's not
not simply, like you said, buying a boiler and you click and pay, right? Because no customer wants that. You want an enjoyable checkout experience. And I think if you're going to make the leap online, but even if you're not going to sell directly online, still having a website which advertises and markets your products is going to be great, because you may capture that market who look for a boiler online, looking at different websites. Actually, do you know what? I really want someone in my home to look at it, but I still want to have a nice experience while I book in that survey, right? So there's sort of multiple angles to go down with it.
Yeah, interestingly, I was talking to my wife the other day, and we were discussing, she's in marketing as well, and we were discussing this idea that traditional retail, maybe are missing a trick. The discussion was around the fact that you might walk into a shop, not purchase anything in the shop, but then later on buy something from them online. And this sort of cross idea where you've got physical space, someone physically there, and a digital experience is so powerful. I go in, I have a look, and then I go online, I buy it later for the convenience. And almost this could be the opposite in some respects. I'm sitting at home, one evening thinking, whatever it is, I'm going to get replaced, whether it's windows, electrics, boilers, whatever you're looking at, and then actually bringing someone into your home to give you that last piece of confidence before you make that, that purchase. And I think, that cross between the physical and the digital is going to be so important. In terms of demand over the next coming months and even years, where do you think that's going to be driven from? Are we looking at renewables? Are we looking at green tech? What's kind of on your roadmap?
Yeah, and that's a good question. What's demand going to look like in 3 to 6 months? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more skilled people who can answer that question, but I'll give it a go. I think, with the government sort of trying to net zero carbon emissions by 2050, the heating industry will play a huge part in that, and so will the fenestration industry. I think we're already seeing the growth of heat pumps, air source heat pumps, and boilers which are more efficient and use less energy to operate. So I think they're two avenues which will become really popular. And I think as new developments come in and new technology innovations within air source heat pumps, I think that will become a norm and common for things like new house builds. And I think it will really take time for them to bed in. So in terms of sort of predictions, I think that's the long-term sort of way the heating industry will go. In the short term, I think next 3 to 6 months, I think the home improvement industry as a whole will continue to see a boom in people spending in their home. We can't go on holiday. We can't go to nice pubs and restaurants. We can't go out and go shopping. We're not spending money on travel. So people are going to invest in their homes, which means there's actually a wealth of opportunity for outdoor furniture, indoor furniture, garden buildings, new doors, new windows. And I think that, believe it or not, the home improvement industry as a sector, or the field service industry, is in a really strong position compared to, say, hospitality, foods, events, because people are living and breathing in their homes, and they want to live and breathe in somewhere which is nice. So sort of a direct sort of actionable insight to businesses, and we've been saying it to our merchants, is, guys, listen, just keep grinding, keep progressing. There's a lot of business out there. You just really need to market it and go after it, because people are wanting to sit in a nice house with maybe a nice conservatory or invest in a garden office building. You've just got to market it and be really bold and being like, guys, we can get through this. There's a huge boom there waiting to happen. So there's say, a couple of opportunities, really.
It's interesting because I think one of the discussions I had with friends recently was around house prices, and the idea, are house prices going to go down because people aren't physically moving, first of all, so there's not as much movement in the market, but also because if we're working from home more, are people, especially in central cities, going to think about moving out to more suburban areas because of there's no, they don't have to commute anyway. And in actual fact, I was reading an article recently that was saying house prices in some areas have gone up, and it was because people were investing in their homes. They were replacing kitchens and bathrooms and doing all these sorts of things, which naturally leads to house prices increasing. So quite an interesting state of play when it comes to the market as a whole. For Vendigo and for maybe you personally as well, what do you think success means for the business?
So for Vendigo, I think success really is trying to touch as many different consumers and merchants as possible to offer finance and to get approved for loans. I mean, in a dream scenario, we'd love to have 100% approval rate, right? I know that's something hard to achieve, but we would love that, because it means every customer who has gone onto our platform, whether that's online, whether that's in their home, and gone through that process of going for a loan, if they get accepted, we think great. That means they've made their purchase, the home improvement company has sealed the contract. So I'd love to have as high approval rates as possible. And I think with Vendigo, that comes with growth. We're just like Commusoft, we're growing at a fast rate. We want to touch as many consumers as possible with it within the country. So we're really in that scale up stage, as we were an early startup, and now we're really scaling up. So I think they're two core points. And another point is actually around an education piece. We would love to get as many businesses as possible to become more digitally aware. I think there's so much scope for the home improvement industry to do that, and just to really sort of take advantage of what websites can offer. And I think there's one point which I really want to touch upon was, if you don't want to sell online, that is absolutely fine. The market's big enough for you to not do that. But what I would say is gear up your website to make it as easy as possible for a customer to contact you. The amount of journeys we see with current merchants where it's so hard just to book in a survey or to find out a quote for a price of job. You should think, when the customer goes onto your website, this is like entering into your home, right? This is the first stage of going into your home. You want them to have as great experience as possible. So you should really invest in that, because you're only going to see it mean that you get more leads generated, you get more people for you to enter into the home, and then that will mean more sales. So that's sort of what we're trying to do. Is not just, okay, guys, we'll set you up with a slick finance process. It's really educating all of our merchants to improve their sales and marketing process. And I think that's what gives me passion. I know the team who are sort of sitting over there probably giving me a few giggles and pokes. I think that's what that makes them really passionate, is how can we help people to make their businesses more profitable, a better experience, and to have a happier end customer.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talked a lot about this in our last series for Success in the Field, where we were talking about customer journeys, but we were talking about websites. We were talking about how people find you online, all these different topics. So if you do want some advice on some of that, check out our last series. We did talk quite a lot about everything, including trust and a whole range of other things. So definitely worth having a quick look at as well. Thanks for joining us today, Aidan. It's been fantastic to hear about the success of Vendigo and what you guys feel we've got in store for the field service market moving forward.
Thank you so much for inviting me on, Jason, and really excited about the coming months ahead, and wish you, Commusoft, and everyone out there sort of battling it within the home improvement and field service industry luck, and have a great Christmas, everyone.
I've spoken to Aidan a few times over the last couple of months, and I really love how they're reimagining the way finance should be offered to the end customer, ultimately leading to a better customer journey. This naturally leads customers to take advantage of finance and gives them the flexibility and choice on how to pay. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check them out and learn more about what they do. As ever, you can find us online by searching for Commusoft. Feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.